Hello. Let me stop fooling around and actually plug in my mic. Okay. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to the channel. This is part 2 of the Q&A as promised. In part 1 of this Q&A, I answered questions about relationships, mental health, the whole 9 yards. So in this part, I'm going to answer questions about life in Cameroon versus life in South Africa. I'm also going to answer questions about work, YouTube, and such. I don't like to waste time at the beginning of my video, so let's just jump straight into the questions. The first question I have here is from Jalady, and she asks, would you say that going to complete your studies at UCT was worth it? Because of the time that I went to UCT, I have very mixed feelings about studying at UCT, but yeah, I do think it was worth it. The problem is that the majority of my studies at UCT happened while we were in the middle of a worldwide pandemic, So that really affected my experience there. I really enjoyed my time at UCT, but the thing is, the job that I got when I came back is a job that I could have gotten without going for my master's or without going to UCT. As a matter of fact, by the time I was leaving my previous company to go study at UCT, I was a team lead. But when I came back, I got a job within a team. So I was under a team lead. So with respect to the friends and the connections and meeting my supervisors and all of that, I think it was worth it. But with respect to actually advancing my career, I'm actually yet to see if it was a worthwhile investment or not. And that's just me being honest. Maybe there are some opportunities that are going to come down the line that my going to UCT would help me get, big opportunities, but for worth it, I'm yet to find out if I get a worthwhile ROI, and that's return on investment for you. Can you tell I've been listening to finance YouTube? Can you tell? Naomi asks, will you be going back to South Africa to complete your master's degree? What are your goals for 2023? Yeah, this master's degree story, I've done all the work that is required of me, so it's up to UCT now. Goals for 2023, I don't know. You know what? My main goal for 2023 is to try to figure out what I want to do with my life. Yes. Do you ever miss South Africa? Of course I do. And especially when I watch stories of my friends back in South Africa, I just get this feeling of nostalgia and warmth around me when I watch them. So yes, I really miss South Africa. How do you feel about moving back to Cameroon? Any regrets? Would you ever recommend that? Here's the thing. First of all, I feel like it depends on where you're moving back from, why you are moving back, and what you are moving back to do. What your livelihood is going to be once you move back to Cameroon. So obviously moving back from a place like say the US or the UK, it's going to be difficult to find jobs that will match the money that you make in all these places. The thing is, the cost of living in Cameroon too is rising rapidly. I feel like Douala now is just as expensive as Cape Town was, except in terms of real estate. I personally moved back because I prefer life in Cameroon, even though it is extremely frustrating, but I like being around my family. I like being able to just travel overnight and visit my family. I like being able to eat Cameroonian food. I generally just like being home. And I like knowing that there is no expiration date for my stay here. This question about moving back to Cameroon is really heavy because there are so many things to consider. I feel like the secret to moving back home and surviving that move is to be psychologically prepared. To be prepared for a lot of bureaucracy when you're trying to get things done here, terrible customer service, and such things. Sometimes unstable power and water supply. So those are just things that you have to be psychologically prepared for, which of course I grew up in Cameroon, so I cannot even behave like I grew up in this other place and coming back to Cameroon is just this culture shock. No, I've lived here all my life, so I'm used to all of this. Even though we hope for change, I knew that coming back I wasn't going to make as much money as I had the potential to make in Cape Town or in South Africa. Also, I had a plan for what I would do when I come back to Cameroon, even though I came and I didn't follow the plan that I had. Last and most importantly, when I was leaving Cameroon to go to South Africa, I had no intentions whatsoever of staying there. My intentions were always to finish my studies and come back. So I was psychologically prepared on all levels to come back. So Vanina, with respect to moving back to Cameroon, when you ask, would I ever recommend it? I'll recommend it if you are prepared. Guana asks, do you think you can move back to South Africa? The question that you should ask is, would South Africa accept for me to come back? That is the real question here, because this whole thing of moving here, moving there, is you're making that decision to move here or there is not the only thing that is going to influence whether or not you're able to actually move. The country has to actually accept, to give you a visa or residency or whatever you need to stay in that country. So Wendy asks, being that you have some international experience after living in South Africa, how would you compare life in Cameroon versus South Africa? Well, okay, I left Cape Town and came back to Douala. I feel like Douala is a bit more fast-paced than Cape Town. Everybody is hustling at any time of the day. You go out and people are hustling, just fighting for life. I feel like I have more drive when I'm in Douala than when I'm in Cape Town, because it's literally like the streets are threatening you. Like, if you don't work, it's not going to be easy for you out here. Meanwhile, while in Cape Town, because I lived in the university area, it was a bit more slow paced. I feel like university towns generally just present this cocoon for students, this student environment that is a bit more slow paced, a bit more hopeful. There's a lot of hope. There's a lot of hope for the future. Come to Douala and those hopes are crushed. For some weird reason, because the hopes are crushed, instead gives me more drive to just work and just work hard. So I don't know. What advice would you give someone in the diaspora who is considering relocating back home? Yeah, like I said, just be psychologically prepared. If possible, you should have a business in place that you're going to come back and run, because if you have to come back and look for a corporate job, you're never going to find anything that will pay you as much as you're paid in the US or wherever else, except if you get a job with an international organization or with a multinational company that pays well. Save a lot of money. Save, because however much money you think you're going to need to come back to Cameroon, double it. You're going to need more. Would you encourage a diasporan to make long-term investments in Cameroon, knowing they might not move back anytime soon? If you're making an investment back home, it should be something that you can follow up. Don't just leave it up to somebody else to follow up. Nobody is going to take care of your thing as much as you are going to take care of it. Whoever else you put to run it does not have that same pain of, working this money and putting their heart and their soul into this, investment. So if you're not going to be here, it better be something that you can follow up from a distance. Because even your trusted people, even people who are well-intentioned and really want to follow up your business for you, may not be able to follow it up to your standards or the way you want it to be followed up. So yeah, don't make an investment expecting somebody else to take care of that investment as if it was their own investment, because it's not. So let's not kid ourselves. Is the Cameroonian economy and mindset improving? I would say yes. The people that are opening businesses now are younger people who have had more exposure, who really want to see the country advance. Even the older people that we would say are boomers are, learning that, Cameroon is a player on the world stage. If we don't sit up, we will be last. At the end of the day, there's some hope for the future of this country. I think I need to delve more into this in a whole separate video, because I have lots and lots of points that I can elaborate on that I don't think can fit into this video. So please, you guys, remind me. Serving says, first, I love your videos, kudos. Secondly, did you have to make equivalents of certificates at the Ministry of National Education to apply in Cameroon? Okay, this is a more niche questions, but yes, if you are trying to study abroad or out of Cameroon, you definitely have to apply for verification of your certificates, which is just this process where the foreign institution or the foreign government would verify the legality or the validity of your certificate with your school or with the government board that you had your certificates with. For example, they would write to the Cameroon GCE board for verification of your advanced level and ordinary level certificates. They would write to your university for verification. They would write to your university for the verification of your degree and so on and so forth. That is a process that you need for any country that you move to, that you're trying to move to. And with that, the first part of this video is over. That's it for the questions regarding my life in South Africa versus life in Cameroon. We're going to move on now to the questions that address work/YouTube. So Amani asks, what is your workflow and do you still see YouTube as worth it? I'm sure you're referring to my workflow with respect to content creation. I film, sometimes I film with my camera, sometimes I film with my phone, and all that footage is supposed to go into the same video. I gather all of the footage into one folder on my computer or in my hard drive, and then I load them into my editing app. I chop them up and decide what part is going to enter the video and what part is going to be left out, and then I step away from the computer maybe for a day. And the next time that I come to edit, I watch everything over. I start adding text, start adding special effects, music, and I start adding all the sugar and spice and everything nice that makes a Mutombo video. I export it, I watch it all over again. If possible, I put subtitles. Subtitles take so much time. If I see that there's any part of the video that is not audible, or maybe where I'm not enunciating my words properly, I put subtitles in those portions and I export. And that's it. That's my video. And regarding whether I still see YouTube as worth it, I think YouTube is worth it if you are actually going to make out the time to put into YouTube. YouTube doesn't work without a huge time investment. If you don't have the time, you have to be able to pay somebody to maybe edit for you, or do all these other things that take up a lot of time. For example, subtitles. If I had money, I would pay somebody to do the subtitles for me. I like doing the editing because I really enjoy the process of editing, but the process of putting the subtitles is not a creative process. Or if I don't enjoy editing, I can even say do the subtitles, do the editing, just do everything. All I'll do is the filming. I guess what I'm saying here is that it depends on the investment that you're going to make in YouTube. I feel like YouTube channels are like babies now. They need attention. They need you to feed them, aka upload videos. They need you to take care of them, be active, constantly check the analytics. It actually requires a lot of active work. So if you do not... Excuse me. Hello? I was saying YouTube is worth it if you're actually going to make the sacrifice that it needs. Juditha asks, how far do you intend to go with your engineering career? I love your drive and you are so beautiful. Thank you, baby girl. Honestly, I intend to go as far as I'm interested. The problem with engineering is that, especially if you're working corporate within a company and everything, the higher you go, the less engineering you actually do. Because with promotions, from being an engineer, you become a team leader, a manager, and so on. And those are the roles that pay higher. But the problem with these roles is that now you are managing the people who are actually doing the engineering. Before going to South Africa, I worked in engineering for 4 years. I was part of the team, a NOC engineer, for 3 years, and for 1 year I was a team leader. I didn't really spend a lot of time in the technical aspect of it. I was really just doing more of control, like are the reports correct, trying to manage people's schedules, that kind of thing. And that's just the way it is. The higher you go, the less actual engineering you do. So when you say how far am I willing to go with my engineering career, if I really want to make money from engineering, either I have to be an innovator, like invent my own thing and then sell it for millions and billions, or maybe one of these trendy engineering careers like software engineering, data science, and then get a remote job where I would actually be paid as an expatriate or paid in dollars, that kind of thing. So I know I've not really answered the question, but yeah, it's just something that I need to think about at every step of the way and with every opportunity that presents itself. Uche asks, why did you start a YouTube channel? I started a YouTube channel because I just had so many ideas and just so much creativity bubbling in me that I needed an outlet. And so many people were telling me, babe, you need to start a YouTube channel. And that's how I finally said, you know what, I really do need to start a YouTube channel. So yeah. Tondani asks, do grades matter when looking for a job, or do they mostly focus on experience? This is a very good question. I think it depends on the company itself. For the most part, I don't think grades really matter over experience. I think experience is more important. But the thing is, you don't pluck experience out of thin air. You have to use something to impress your very first employer, and that's where your grades come in. If you are able to use your grades to get into that very first opportunity at getting experience, from there you just need to build experience and hopefully you can soar. Anyway, I'm just talking based on my experience and my field. I really try not to paint life with one brush because experiences are so different from person to person. So yeah. Stephanie asks, I love your editing style. Where do you get the cartoon heads you use and how do they work? Oh, you mean these cartoon heads? I get them from my iPhone. It's part of the home emoji thing. I don't use it that often because getting the thing from my phone into my computer is just so much work. Lionel Love asks, what inspired you to start a YouTube channel? I already answered that. And what are some of the challenges you faced? Girl, I'm still facing challenges, okay? Most of them are financial. Good gear is expensive. Just a regular mirrorless camera is going to cost you at least 250,000 francs. You need a laptop that can actually do a lot of video processing. So you need a laptop with good specifications. That costs money. Minus money, it is a very time intensive job. Okay, it requires a lot of time, especially if you want to edit. If you want to edit like me, it takes time. Okay, you cannot bang out a Mutombo video in 3 hours. Are you using magic? No, it takes time. So for me to edit, say, a 15-minute vlog, know that that's at least 16 to 20 hours of editing. Just putting one thing before the other, effects, making sure that scenes are changing with the beats of the music. Sorry, I feel like I'm screaming at you guys or that I'm scolding you. I'm sorry. Please, let's just move on. S asks, what do you like and what do you dislike about an 8 to 5 job? Oh, very beautiful question. What I like about an 8 to 5 job is the structure that it provides you. I'm somebody who thrives on structure. I like, having things cut out for me. I come, somebody tells me what to do and I do it. I like that. But what I don't like about it is the commute. The fact that I have to leave this house. Even though I'm always on bikes, I hate getting on bikes, but I hate using taxis because the taxis will take you and they'll not take you directly to your destination. They'll just go round and round and round and waste time looking for passengers. So long story short, I don't like the commute. Even though I like the structure that an 8 to 5 job gives you, I don't like the lack of flexibility. On certain days I would like to be able to maybe work in the evenings and have my mornings free so I can do other things. It's fine, that's the life. Oh my gosh, my iPad has gone off. I'm going to answer the next question from memory because I remember that S also asked what my ideal job would be, and I actually gave this particular question a lot of thought. My ideal job would definitely be something that is more task oriented rather than time oriented. Traditionally, we are expected to spend 8 hours a day working, so I would like to be in a situation where if I'm able to do my work in, say, 6 hours, I get my 2 hours back. If I can stay up the whole night and do this task and not have to come to work the next day, I would like that as well. The important thing is that the work is done. So that's a situation that I actually fantasize about, but it's not very feasible in today's working environment. In fact, tell me if you know of any roles that operate the way I'm describing. Please go down into the comments and let me know. Well, I guess freelancers function like that. With freelancers, you just give them a task and you're like, okay, I need it by this deadline. If they can do it within that deadline, they accept the task and then they manage their time and how they go about doing the task by themselves. Let me see, what else would I really like in a job? Okay, I mentioned in the previous video that I am an introvert. So I would like a job where I don't have to constantly talk, constantly be on the phone, constantly be in meetings, like constantly interact. I want a job that energizes me rather than drain my energy. For example, in moments where I can just be quiet and just get into deep work, I would really love such jobs. In fact, I don't even care what I'm doing in this work, whether it's engineering, whether it's accounting, whether it's data science. I don't know. I don't even care what the actual job is, but you know, something where I can just zone in, be in my bubble and work and not be disturbed. So long story short, I would like to work a job that plays on my strengths rather than draw from my weaknesses. Lionel Love also asks, is there any gear you currently wished you could include in your content creation? Yes, girl. Ring light. I'm saving up for a ring light. TVS asks, how well do you think you've adjusted at work and in your new life back home? I've not adjusted at all. Not at all. But that's also because I want different things now. What are the top 3 countries you would like to travel to in Africa and why? I would like to go to Kenya. Especially since the day that I was told as a child that the Lion King is based on the Kenyan landscape. Another country I would like to visit is Nigeria because it's Nigeria. I would like to visit Nigeria. You see, for the 3rd country, I don't know, I'm between Ghana and Morocco. I think I'm influenced by the countries that I see the most on social media. How do you feel about the current job market in Cameroon, and do you think it provides more opportunities today than when you graduated high school? I think as an engineer, it's easier to get a job than other professions, for example, law, for example, management, for example, accounting. You know, I see a lot of startups these days, but I don't know if there are more now because I am more exposed or because, you know, we see them more on social media as opposed to back then when social media was not that big. Maybe they were just there but not known. The possibilities are endless. What's your biggest food weakness? It used to be chocolate, but I am developing a resistance. Nobody can fool me with chocolate anymore. I am a stronger woman now. What achievements in the past 2 years are you most proud of? Living my life based on my achievements has kept me in a chokehold, has kept me in spaces that I should have outgrown by now, but because, I achieved this in this particular path, let me stick to this path. Nah. I'm not living like that anymore. What advice will you give to youths in Cameroon in a society where education doesn't always lead to a deserving job? Girl, you understand. Make yourself useful. Learn how to do things. I think the value that education gives you, especially higher education, is it teaches you how to learn. It teaches you how to think critically. It teaches you how to, be more critical of situations. I don't think it necessarily teaches you how to do any specific thing. It just maybe develops your brain a bit further. What I would advise the youths to do today is to get skills, things that you can actually use to produce something. Literally just try to find something that you love to do, something that is useful, and get good at doing that thing. What are 3 things that you would say to Mutombo at this point in her life? Listen to your gut, okay? Remember, every time that you have gone against what you felt in your gut, your intuition, you have regretted it. So listen to your gut. So Mutombo, I hope you're listening. Yes, I'm listening. Lastly, how are you doing? Wow, very important question. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for asking. I'm good. Patience asks, firstly, what is it like being a YouTube in Cameroon versus South Africa? For one thing, I'm going to tell you, it's definitely easier to film in South Africa. Especially in the streets, out and about, it's easier to film in South Africa. Do people stare or give you awkward glances when you are filming? Yeah, a few people stare, but to be honest, I'm actually just so focused on talking to my camera that I don't even notice whether or not people stare at me. I'm always doing weird stuff, so I'm kind of used to people staring at me. Like sometimes I would just take a scarf and wrap my whole head in the scarf just because maybe I just don't want, to feel wind in my face, but I don't want to feel the sun on my head. And when I do that, I know I look super weird, but this is the thing. I don't care. Sorry, my loves, the video cut off before I could even get a chance to round up. I'm actually connected. As you can see, we are connected right now because my phone literally just died on me. But I just wanted to close out this video properly. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed me answering these questions, and we are going to see each other in the comments. Okay, I'm in the comments right now, so just drop me a comment. And there are definitely some questions that were asked that I feel that I need to expatiate more on, probably make a whole video on. and I'll be working on that. So yeah, bye.